Welcome to the Mental Health Militia News, where I am your host, Chabol, here with his co-host, Mr. Munster. Thank you, Mr. Munster. Today in the news, we have a doozy. But before we get into that, I must mention a disclaimer. Yes, a news station that comes with a warning. Why? Because we care that the information we provide you might be fire, but it turns out that it is me and Mr. Munster gathering it, producing it, writing it, and delivering it. So it could blow up in your face just like this gentleman. But please listen with discretion and use this for educational purposes only. Moving on from the fire to yes, as we still sit in the great media war of 2021, we see people like Kyle Rittenhouse stepping up and pushing forth the Media's Accountable Act. So Chabul is the best media person he can be, and if you gotta do justice on me and bring me down, then I didn't do my job. Moving on to yes, as we're starting to understand who Jabul is. Gosh, last night he pushed that, and he fully apologizes for what for just pushing the news, but he didn't just push any sort of news. His sources are We the Media on Telegram, the X22 report, cross-referencings, and just pretty much Telegram. And but we noticed that True Social has opened up, so let's see what True Social is going to push out, because they're not going to hold back. So they also may flood True Social with hit pieces themselves, but who knows? It's up to us to decide on what it is truth and what is not. Excuse me. Moving on from who Chabot is to the opening quote in the MHM. To protest against injustice is the foundation of our American democracy. Thurgood Marshall. Moving on from the opening quote to the opening story. Yes, we want to jumpstart the economy and reopen the country. 1,000 vehicles join the People's Convoy in California and start 11-day cross-country drive to D.C. to protest Rona mandates, fueled by $500,000 in early donations. Scores of truckers began their early day trek from California to Washington, D.C. on Wednesday in an effort to protest the Rona vacation and mandates after the cavalcade raised more than $464,000 in donations. Yes, we see here in the map where it is going from start of February 23rd in California. The convoy goes to Arizona the 24th, and then to this place on the 25th, and then all the way to Maryland on March 4th, and to Washington, D.C. by the 5th. So I guess if when it comes down to it, I got to take off of work that day and head down to Washington, D.C. to record this event. Moving on from the news. Yes, Democrat Rep. Gallego, who never held a private sector job, calls for seized trucks from Freedom Convoy truckers and redistributing them to other businesses. Yes, we see here that the Arizona Democrat is calling for, when the convoy makes it to these places, for these trucks to be seized and to be redistributed to smaller businesses. Yes, we see here that this gentleman is definitely part of the cabal. Moving on from the news to, yes, the sick world news with your MHM news. To can't make this up, Justin Trudeau says Canada will stand against authoritarianism, announces Russia sanctions after trampling peaceful protesters on horseback and freezing opposition's bank accounts. Yes, what we're seeing is that this man is an absolute right arm of the Nazis and is pushing forth the same exact things that the Nazis have pushed forth. Also, I believe they have gone back on their Emergencies Act, so I don't think they're going to be freezing bank accounts anymore, but they already did it. They already did it. Job is done. We already know who you work for. Nazis! Moving on from who you work for to, yes, a freedom convoy is opening up in Italy. We see here that we all biting off the Canadians, but you know what? The Canadians are the ones that have always, in my mind, have been free in heart, mind, and soul longer than any of us. So might as well have them started off, and the rest of us be as free, mind, soul, and heart as the rest of the world, like them damn Canadians. Eh? Moving on from the news to, yes, NATO officials say Russians' attack on Ukraine has begun. The attack began moments after Russian President Vladimir announced he had decided to conduct a special military operation. And that is how CBS News spreads propaganda, because the special operation is probably like, yes, we are going to secure our borders, that we are re-securing, that we were peacefully given. It was a horrible Russian accent. I got to do better on stuff like that. But it's just a peaceful handover. Moving on from the news. Yes, here we go. The law that enabled Hitler's dictatorship. In February 1933, January's Reichstag building was set aflame under the mysterious circumstances. On March 23rd, Adolf Hitler pled his case for the passage of his enabling act. His speech was full of assurances, and combating unemployment was a primary concern. The Enabling Act passed, allowing the Reich government to issue laws without consent of the parliament, Germany's parliament, allowing the foundation for complete Nazification of Germany's society. Yes, we see here is Canada did the same exact thing that the Nazis did. Moving on from the news to welcome to America, bitches, from your MHM News. To, yes, Dan Scavino puts out misinfo, proceed with it. How CBS is pushing out misinformation. The U.S. economy has been hit with increased gas prices, inflation, and supply chain issues due to the Ukraine crisis. Yes, we see here that people that are more than 3,000 miles away, two oceans. Now, I mean, yes, two oceans, but there is an ocean if we go east or we go west, still an ocean. So, moving on from how this absolutely blows my mind to, yes, the border jumper section of your MHM News. You gotta be like, andale, Pedro, jump! Ooh, that fall was a little high. We might not want you to jump this border wall, Pedro. Whoa. Moving on from the news to, yes, Matt Rosendale. Biden's unvetted Afghans must be immediately deported. Unvetted Afghans allowed entry into the United States as part of President Joe Biden's massive resettlement operation out of Afghanistan must be immediately deported. Rep. Matt Rosendale, Republican, Massachusetts. Yes, we see here that was not Massachusetts. I think it was Montana. Yes, we see here that the unvetted Afghans are coming into a culture that they are unfamiliar with, and these people are not able to know what their backgrounds are. So who knows? They just might be bringing in some of them terrorists they always be talking about, and some of us might be in trouble, like that Hillary Clinton plan might go through, where Chicago goes, oh no. Moving on from the news. Got a good point though. To, yes, the funny money section here with your MHM News. To, yes, central bank digital currencies will be on the greatest violations on human rights in history. Yes, to investors, the invitation of blockchain technology solved a decades-long computer science problem and unleashed a momentary revolution in the form of Bitcoin. This decentralized digital currency has taken the world by storm. It has been adopted by hundreds of millions of people globally and is worth approximately $1 trillion in market cap based on daily fluctuations in US price. Not bad for a technology that is completely open source. Bitcoin has no CEO, no marketing department, and raised no venture capital dollars as it was being built or scaled. Decentralized means no one individual or group controls the product. Any major changes need the arrangement of a large portion of the community, including software developers to miners to node operations, in order to implement it for users. Yes, what you're seeing here is that sometimes, yes, Bitcoin could be flooded into the market, but no more Bitcoin that has already been made, such as gold, which has been proven that there has been tons and tons of it brought up from the Vatican. So there is gold that has not been brought into our markets yet, so that could ultimately demolish the gold price. Silver, I'm not really too sure on how they could adjust that, but probably silver too. But Bitcoin was not able to be grabbed by the cabal, and they keep on trying to grab up as much as is possible. But you see here why it is such a valuable asset these days. Moving on from the news to, yes, the sex crime section of your MHM News. Ooh, these women, I would be sex crime by them. But nothing here in this section of the sex crime section of the MHM News is never any good. Nope, not me. Don't sex crime me. I'm good. Well, them women, you can sex crime me, but nothing near my butt. You knew. Moving on to, yes, Harvey Weinstein limo driver testifies early in producer's California rape case. Yes, we see here they're like, let's get this man's movie over earlier. Yes, he's going to be becoming somebody's boyfriend soon. Maybe he's already somebody's boyfriend. Maybe they're like, he wants to get married. Let's end the case quicker. That's what I see happening. Absolutely. I'm definitely being held to the Accountabilities Act. Moving on to the Rona section of your MHM News. To Disclose TV puts out new large Germany health insurance company analyzed data from 10.9 million insured individuals regarding the vacation complications. According to our calculations, we consider 400,000 visits to the doctor by the policyholders because of the vacation complications to be realistic to this day. Extrapolated to the total population, this value would be 3 million, says BKK Broad member Andreas Sofachbeck in a report by Welt. The numbers are resulted from, and our analysts are very far away from the publicity announced numbers. It would be unethical not to talk about it. Yes, we see here that the vacation was nothing good, and the insured people, hopefully they will still have insurance until the day they get cured. Moving on from the news to, yes, French number one Grach Monfils blames adverse reactions to the Rona booster for his recent withdrawals, with 35 old citing health glitching. A compatriot German Charlie also struggles after getting vacations last summer. Yes, what we see here is this man absolutely sees he's thriving in pain from the vacation, and he probably will not be getting his fourth booster. Moving on from the news to, yes, more evidence Rona was tinkered with in a lab. Now scientists find the virus contains tiny chunk of DNA that matches sequence patented by Moderna 3 years before pandemic began. Yes, tick matches discovered in COVID's unique foreign cleavage site on spike protein. Yes, matched genetic sequence patented by Moderna for cancer research purposes. Researchers say 1 in 3 trillion chance Rona developed in the code naturally. Yes, what we're seeing here is that most likely the virus was being pushed out by Wuhan the whole time, and we have been lied to. Moving on from the news to, yes, fraud, scams, and lies could target you, so protect yourself, people. Mr. Monster, how you gonna protect yourself from fraud, scams, and lies? Ooh, you gonna join the Republican Party? Oh, Mr. Monster was a Democrat saying he's gonna be Republican. Oh, moving on from the news to, yes, 2 prosecutors leading New York Trump inquiry resign, clouding case's future. Yes, 2 prosecutors leading the Manhattan District's attorney investigation into former President DJT and his business practices abruptly resigned on Wednesday amid a month-long pause in their presentation of evidence to a grand jury, according to the people with knowledge of the matter. Yes, these people are like, yo, we ain't got nothing on him. Mr. Monster, we ain't got nothing on him. What do we do? We resign abruptly? We resigning the case. We resigning. Yes, you see here that these people couldn't find anything on DJT, so they resigned. Or they opened up the closet and they were like, Monster! Moving on from the news to, yes, elected wizard, Russian ambassador to the U.S., Anatoly Anovov. Western sanctions will be hit world markets and affect the well-being of Americans, causing energy prices to rise, but will not force Russia to change course. We've learned to live with Western restrictions. Yes, we see here that the people all across the world are getting ready for these restrictions, but seem to have them already in plan and place. So has this been a plan and a movie the whole time? I think so. Mr. Munster, he's starting to believe me. Mr. Munster, been here the whole time. I still not believing a gentleman. Moving on from the news to, yes, Jen Psaki tells Rob Lowe's podcast that Biden's White House stage was turned into a set so events could look visually better during Rona, and criticizes reporters for cuckoo questions during his last press conference. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki appeared on the Rob podcast. She said that the President Biden's stage was turned into a set so events could look a little better visually during the Rona pandemic. The South Court authoritarian has been given a glow up since Biden took office, with animated backdrops, video screens, and pillars. Psaki also said some of the reporters' questions were cuckoo when Biden held his nearly 2-hour press conference last month. Psaki admitted to not watching Lowe in the West Wing, but said that she wanted to get in the politics from watching the West Wing. La, 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 la. Yes, we see here that they are admitting that the Biden backdrops have been different because they are on a stage. No, it's because it's in a movie and they just don't know what to do. They might not even be in the White House. I don't know. I cannot really figure it out. Moving on from the news to, yes, if you've made it this far, you've made it to the veteran section of the MHM News. Moving on from the news to, yes, put out by Archive A9. A9 Fine. Truth Social's registration service is called Pepe. Yes, we see here that in this Q post from 2557 that I can't really read that, but Pepe plus is DJT, I think, or is that Q plus? Q plus is DJT. Either way, Pepe is part of the Q team. Moving on from the news to, yes, in drop 828 Stay together. Be strong. Get organized. Be heard. Fight the censorship. You, the people, have all the power. You simply forgot how to play. Together, you are invincible. They want you to divide. They want you to silence. Make noise. We are with truth. Make it rain. What I say, a class action lawsuit. Oh, drop 830. What I say, a class action lawsuit. When is it effective? Who controls the narrative? Who wrote the singular censorship algorithm? Who deployed the algorithm? Who instructed them to deploy the algorithm? Same embed across the multiple platforms. Why? Why is the timing relevant? Where is Snowden? Why did the ES leave G? Why has North Korea out of the news cycle? Define false flag. What event changed the news cycle? Why did LV change the news cycle? You have more than you know. Boom. I guess so. Yeah. I'm still decoding things. Moving on from the news to yes, in drop 833. Reality is labeled as conspiracy. You are made to feel crazy. You are told to obey. You are sheep to them, pawns to be sacrificed. Remember, we are winning. Do not trust what you read. Mind warfare. Up is down, left is right. Boom. Drop 2914. Emphasis on mistake not corrected. Time to start looking at the other side where real crimes were committed. POTUS. Time to renew our insurance policy. Truth always wins. Where we go one, we go all. Misspellings matter. Sentence form matters. Learn. Still learning. Moving on from the news to yes, in post 2915. Oh, I see now that the 2-year Russian collusion case has fallen apart. There was no collusion except by crooked Hillary and the department and the Democrats. They say, gee, I have the idea. Let's look at Trump's finances and every deal he has ever done. Let's follow discredited Michael Cohen. Boom, your T banner is appropriate and fits you well. Moving on from to yes, bye crooked Hillary. Moving on to gosh, if you made it this far, that is all for now from the Mental Health Militia News. Mr. Munson and Chabul, have a good one. God bless you and yours. Holla at Chabul. 2 fingers. We're getting better. I didn't even proofread that or reread that before I ran that. I was just like, let's just run it. It's 1 a.m. Ooh, it's 1 a.m. Da 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 da.